Peace and blessings to all of God's people. I pray this finds you well. I want to give you a little, I guess, testimony, you can call it that. But I want to first give God all praise, honor, and glory for each and every individual that was placed in my life that got me to this point right here so that I can reveal the things I'm about to reveal to you. Now I'm not submitting a resume, but let me give you a little background here. I went to prison when I was 16. It was a whole different time and space. I cut my teeth on my manhood at 16 going to prison, all right? God placed people around me though, you know what I mean? I thought it was me, like a lot of us think it is, you know, but if you live long enough and you be honest with yourself, you find out it ain't you, it's grace, it's favor. Anyway, a lot of brothers was coming back from the Vietnam War. They was locking them up. They were scared to death of them brothers. I mean, they didn't. I mean, at the late 60s, Black Power was coming up. People throwing the fish. You know, people talking about how, you know, the fear is gone. You know, we coming up out of this. I mean, it was a radical time. Well, because of my juvenile, abhorrent behavior, I ended up in lockdown a lot. And in lockdown, I did a lot of studying, a lot of reading, and here again, there were a lot of men, just good, solid men, wasn't highly educated, nothing like, but men of principle, men of standing, backbone, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't a whole lot of settling. No, it wasn't a whole lot of settling. You know, either it is or it ain't. You know, we don't settle. It wasn't no negotiating, no haggling. So, but anyway, God got me through that. I educated myself more out of boredom than anything else. So I can't get on here and make no claims to this. I had some type of plan. No, it wasn't that. You know, it was some days I was waking up, I didn't even know if I was gonna make it back to the cell. But my point is, everywhere I went and everything I needed was provided for me. Now, why I opened this up talking about hearing, I didn't have the proper hearing. And here today, I'm acknowledging every individual God put in my life that I didn't hear them at the time. I think it's coming through now, and I just want to acknowledge them and their patience and whatever it is that was working on them. 'Cause I'm going to tell you something. I was not the easiest person to be around. And still, I wait kind of heavy on some folks. But my point is, learning to hear. In my travels, I started off as a child. It evolved to me getting up. And let me tell you something. They talk about how hard that Apollo Theater is on amateur night. Let me tell you something. Try being a convict, getting up with a room full of convicts and talk about what pretty much like what I'm doing here. Yeah, that's right. Now, I'm not talking about the people from the outside coming in. Let me tell you, tough audiences, to get up before those people. Now, and understand something. I'm saying this is something God was doing through me. I didn't even understand it as such then. To get up before other men, I mean, in prison, maximum security prisons, and talk about God and the reality and truth and, you know, come on now. And we were living in a really different time. Education, you know, they had programs, inmates, convicts was going in, in and out, you know, was things happening unlike the prison you see today. I'm saying this. Yeah, it was the horrors, it was the nightmares, but God got me through. When I was in federal prison, wherever I would go. Now, in federal prison system, it's natural, you know, you go from one place. Listen, I had 36 points. I had every point they had in security. I was maxed beyond that. And everywhere I went, I was constantly reminded that I was a high-profile prisoner. What do you mean high-profile? To get up before men and be respected by men. Now, No. Everybody is, I'm not saying I had 100%. No. I am saying this. It was respected enough. The administration of each prison I went to would always sort of vet me, sort of like, check my temperature, see, what's going on, and I was that type of inmate, And in Virginia, in the late 1990s, as I said, my family, there's plenty of verification on that. They came up with a hair policy. I was in the Virginia Department of Corrections for a parole violation. I was called to the warden's office to say, hey, look, we coming up with this hair policy, and it's going to be pretty rough on you guys. Now, we can't make you cut your hair, but we going to make it so uncomfortable in here that you going to have to, bow down to us, And I said, well, we see what happened. We went on lockdown. And it took them a while to figure it out, but they finally realized that if they could get rid of me, they could probably slowly peel, divide and conquer, old game. Anyway, they decided to do whatever's necessary just to get me out the system. So that they thought those guys were and they eventually did. I stayed on lockdown 3.5 years, taking going to the shower in handcuffs and leg irons, being next door to prisoners that had actually assaulted assistant wardens. They had more privileges in the hole than we did. But at that same prison, they allowed me to have visits. They allowed my sister and my brother to come see me. I wasn't supposed to have that. They would send an officer who was somewhat learning scripture and everything to my cell every day, sort of just check on, see what I was doing. It was that type of place. So what I want to speak to you about right quick today is about being able to hear. Now, while I was in the federal prison system, I met two brothers, and they were from Jericho, Israel, and it blew my mind. That's a whole video in itself. But they gave me the knowledge of the SHEMA. And the SHEMA, I spoke about it the other day. You find it in the Old Testament, book Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 4. And the word SHEMA means hear. It's a Hebrew word that means hear. And that particular SHEMA prayer is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God. The Lord is one. One love, one aim, one. Okay, you see where I'm going on. But why is hearing so important here? See, we're in a society, I know we said we got this saying, our sin is believing this, that, yeah. But isn't it very important to hear? Hearing is emphasized here in order for one to have the proper faith, focus, strength, or whatever it is, or to really get as close as we can to God. The most direct translation referring to the act of receiving sound is to understand and take heed, all right? To internalize the message, to take it to heart, all right? And to give it a serious consideration, meditation, all right? Obey, act. Disobedience is from Genesis all the way up to Revelation. So that whole act, finding that value that causes you to obey, is very important. And it's a declaration of faith. And it's a very important prayer, and it's spelled over and over and over. You should make it a mantra or an affirmation. Learning to hear. I pray something come out of here that will bless you richly. And I guess we'll pick up in different ways, but one love, pray you a blessed day.